Going across to my other guests this evening, Nalin Kohli, Senior Advocate in the Supreme Court, Anand Ranganathan, author, Sanjay Hegde, Senior Advocate, Sanjay Ghosh, Senior Advocate in the Supreme Court, join the debate. Waiting for Mahesh Jethmalani, Senior Advocate, to join the debate. And number one, Nalin Kohli, the report was sent to the government probably on the 6th or the 7th of May. We are sitting on the 28th of May, and we are still, or 27th of May, and we are still awaiting whether this report will be made public. After all, 64 pages of detailed investigation and 3 judges themselves sitting and investigating, indicting the said judge. Does this report deserve to see the light of day? Do people deserve the right to know what is in it?
Certainly. And there has to be an outcome on something as sensitive and important. There's no question about it. Because, I mean, it has 2 aspects. There is an individual aspect with regard to the judge in question and his conduct, and the wheels of law that must follow, whether under the constitutional provisions under Article 124 or otherwise in terms of the criminality that would be associated with the act and the process that follows there. The second is a larger issue with regard to the credibility of the judiciary. And I must hasten to add that while certainly this is a damning report on the conduct, and it points towards prima facie what would be seen, some kind of complicity with high amounts of cash lying in the house, which are unexplained, that we cannot use this also to run down every judge, because after all, there are judges who are performing their duties in a clean, honest manner, working from morning to evening. So I think they also have a stake in interest and to see that, some action happens, because we attained on any institution, whether it's the government, whether it's the legislative part, executive legislative part, or the judiciary, is not desirable. And those who are identified as tainted, action has to follow.
Well, I want to ask you, Sanjay Hegde. Sanjay Hegde, what are we waiting for? Why are the wheels of justice not moving for the justices themselves? This is not an inquiry that has been done by the police or any wing of the executive, or the legislature. This is an inquiry report of the judges, by the judges, and the recommendation to quietly resign and go also comes from the judges. What's going on? Why is no action ever taken? Would you or I ever get this kind of benefit of doubt to sit on our haunches and just wait for the wheels of justice to get stuck in the mud?
You and I are not protected by constitutional immunity. The only way of getting rid of a judge who does not resign is to have him impeached. But it is not as if impeachment can be done by ordinance. It is not as if Parliament can suddenly say, here you're impeached, off you go. There is a procedure even there. There has to be a motion of impeachment, which any 50 MPs can start off, or given the numbers in Parliament, the government of the day can also initiate an impeachment. After that motion is admitted, then it goes to the committee of judges.
I know the process of impeachment.
Yes, so,
my question is, why does the exalted court not take the call? Why does it have to go to the legislature? Why can't the justices take care of their own rot within? Because they've kept themselves at an exalted position, which is certainly not enjoyed either by the executive or the legislature or common citizens like me. You're right. We don't get that constitutional protection. They do. So why can't they take a call on their own?
Well, they did take a call. They asked him, please get out. He has refused. Once he has refused, the only way to do it is through Parliament. And they've handed it over to Parliament, to the government of the day, saying, please do whatever is needed. It is most likely that Parliament will consider this during the monsoon session. But it is unlikely that it will be passed in the monsoon session. Between the monsoon session and the next session, there will be an inquiry under the Judges Inquiry Act, which will confirm everything. There will be a report in Parliament, and after that, after a parliamentary debate, the motions will have to be passed. There was a Calcutta High Court judge who, in whose case the Lok Sabha passed the motion of impeachment, but before the Rajya Sabha was to take it up, the judge resigned. Between now and this is my timetable, between now and possibly the winter session, when this will be, when the impeachment motion will come up for discussion and passing, there may be several changes in the plot. As Mr. Salve said, picture abhi bhi baki hai. It may be that the judge resigns, but if it goes to Parliament, then he has a right to put his case before Parliament itself. And through Parliament, he has a right to put his case before the people of India.
No.
Okay.
I'm tired, Anand Ranganathan. So many rights of the honorable justices, which is why we are calling this Operation Order. Operation Order is only for you and me and the common citizen of India. For them, there are only rights. What happens to the duty of transparency? What happens to the duty of probity? What happens to the duty of putting the truth before the country and, being above suspicion just like Caesar's wife? Isn't that expected? Because Justice Yashwant Varma will not resign. And he says this is again a conspiracy against him. Even after the three-judge committee, in his response to the Chief Justice of India, he says, that the fairness of the process of justice have not been adhered to. He talks about the conspiracy theory, even after the fact that it has been declared and proven, and there is a list of 55 witnesses who have been questioned by the said committee. And all of these 55 members have corroborated, after which these conclusions have been taken by the committee. 55 of them are wrong, the justice is right. No answers to be given, how the cash reached there, how much was it, where did it go, why did it go, why was the CCTV not working at that time, and why did he mislead everybody by saying that everybody accessed that room. The judges, the committee of judges finds that it was only the residents who held the right to allow somebody to enter. Nothing, no impunity, no punitive action against him.
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to my fellow panelists. I reiterate that I speak as a common man, common citizen, as a layman, because I see everyone else on the panel as exalted lawyers, so kudos to them. First of all, the good news for you, Navika, is that while you might be hauled up for contempt of court for this brilliant investigation and opening of this case yet again with facts, the good news is that Supreme Court is almost on what was erstwhile called summer break, but now it is called partially working. So 10% of the summer break has been cancelled. But I want to talk about something else, which is a fact that justice is supposed to be blind, not judges. Do they not see a clear conflict of interest here, Navika? Imagine an IPL final, whether Mumbai Indians captain Hardik Pandya's LBW or not goes to the third umpire. And the third umpire turns out to be Mukesh Ambani, the owner of Mumbai Indians. Bags of cash is found in a judge's home, and what steps are taken? An in-house probe, a nudge and a rap on the knuckles with a feather, a one-way ticket to another city court, no FIR, no investigation of a clear criminal act by forensic and investigative agencies. The judicial system is broke, Navika. Let me explain. More than 50 million cases are pending in Indian courts. At the current pace, it would take us 323 years to clear the backlog. Worse, out of these 180,000 are as old as 30 years. As many as 244,000 pending cases are of rape and child sex offences. India has just 20 judges per million population, worse than sub-Saharan Africa. 1,680 complaints of corruption against judges have been filed in the last 5 years. Only 10% of judges have publicly declared their assets. 38% of High Court and 21% of judicial positions overall lie vacant. 76% of all prisoners are under trials. The wheels of justice aren't just grinding slowly, Navika. They have come to a halt. As I said, The entire judicial system is broke, and one of the primary reasons is judicial appointments. This system where judges appoint judges needs a serious overhaul. Around 50% of High Court judges and 33% of Supreme Court judges are related to senior judicial members. Only 250 families have ever sent judges to Supreme Court. Conflict of interest is rife. At one point of time, 34 judges of the High Court had relatives working as lawyers in the same place. CJI Khare admitted corruption was rampant in lower courts. 9 Supreme Court judges said there was corruption in higher judiciary, a fact disclosed in the Supreme Court itself. And yet, no one but the judiciary, through the Article 235 as well as the 1997 declaration, can investigate judicial corruption. This has to change, and somebody has to change it. My question is, we know Supreme Court is not going to change this. Who is above the Supreme Court? Parliament. What is it doing? Sleeping like the Supreme Court?
I'm sorry, the Parliament is not above the Supreme Court. The Parliament is below. The kind of constitutional protection the Supreme Court judges get, or the judges in general get, is not available to members of the legislature. So certainly the Parliament is not above the judges. The judges can turn down any law that has been passed by the Parliament. So Sanjay Ghosh, what are we waiting for? Are we going to wait for public memory to fade away, for the outrage that is currently being felt by common citizens to just wash away, because there will be a process, that there will be, as Sanjay Hegde just explained, some sort of an inquiry in the monsoon session, the argument in the winter session, the argument and the debate going on forever and ever. Are we just waiting for public memory to fade away, outrage to fade away, so that we can brush this one also under the carpet? And I'm sure you've heard about the Punjab and Haryana High Court as well. A case in which an order is reserved is now being heard by the Chief Justice of the Punjab and Haryana High Court. So what's just going on? And I've been told that I'll be hauled up for contempt. Why? Putting truth out is being hauled up for contempt?
Well, Navika, I must first compliment you for doing this program. And we have to bring this to the public day in and day out until action is taken. And hats off to you for doing this. But I say this with a sense of pain that, we have to listen to this report from you rather than the Supreme Court putting it out in its website like it put out the initial show cause notice and the reply. Okay, transparency, if we are for transparency, then there had to be a transparent thing. I don't believe that I'm saying this, but I today agree with almost 90% of what Mr. Salve said. This is an issue where there was no need. Please understand, and this, your viewers should understand this. 2 Chief Justices of a High Court who have such an important task and administrative responsibilities, and 1 senior judge of the Karnataka High Court sat in Delhi in the Haryana Bhavan for 14 days to do this inquiry. What was the need of this inquiry, when it was very clear as to what has happened? Now, I want to just put in a contrary view over here with regard to FIR. There's this talk, why not FIR, why not FIR? Let us take Justice Yashwant Varma's own defense. His defense is that he was set up by some unknown people. So my question is this: yes, it is true that under the Constitution and the laws and the judgments, you need some kind of Supreme Court nod to investigate a judge. But you don't need any Supreme Court nod to investigate a crime which the judge is himself alleging to be a crime. So what my question is to you, and through you to the people who matter, that when the first responders came there and they found cash, they found the burning, when the whole public heard the judge saying she is being framed with money, from whichever source, why did not the police register an FIR against unknown people and investigate that angle? And another issue, you are privy to the report, we are not. I am very interested, as a person who wants the purity of the judiciary and the legal system to be preserved, to know that where did this cash come from? A judge with a salary of 2.5 lakhs can't manage to have the crores as is alleged against Justice Varma. Did the investigation also find who are those people who are bringing that money to the judges, who are corrupting the judicial system? And those people have no constitutional protection which Sanjay Hegde is talking about. Why don't you attack them? Why is nothing being done to attack and target those?
With all due respect, Sanjay Ghosh, I agree with you that if there is a conspiracy and somebody is keeping that money in somebody's house, we should go against that people. But who is to find that out? According to a Supreme Court judgment itself, an FIR can only be filed after the Chief Justice of India or the Supreme Court gives its nod for the filing of the FIR. So that should have come from the Chief Justice of India at that time. It hasn't come. In fact, after the report came out and he wrote this letter, even in that there is no suggestion of registering an FIR. So who is supposed to do that, Nalin Kohli? Was the police supposed to do it? Was the fire official supposed to do it? Was the Chief Justice of India or the committee supposed to do it? Who is supposed to do it? Who is going to find out where this money came from? And the figures are mind-boggling. In one place in this report, it is said that the sacks and the money in it was 1.5 feet high. Do you realize how much cash that is? 1.5 feet height cash bundles were there in the room. 1.5 feet. And I'll just recall the page number and the paragraph number where this is mentioned. Nalin Kohli, who's supposed to find this out? We are almost watching a tennis match going from one side to the other, whether it will be the judiciary, whether it will be the government, whether it will be the executive. What's going on?
So, Navika, permit me a few minutes. Your angst, or anyone on this panel, or even the viewers, or even members of the judiciary, their angst in terms of what is to be the outcome given the nature of the visuals and the committee report is justifiable. Now the issue that follows this will be the process that has to flow. So let's look at the 3 or 4 issues involved. The first is, there is a protection of office that's not just for judges, but it's for governors, ministers. There's protection for what happens within within Parliament, within the state legislature. So these protections are from the very constitution that we are cherishing, and from where we get our rights, and even the right for us to freely speak out here and express our angst. They can't be dispensed with. They'll have to follow that due process. Number 2 is the question that 3 judges, 2 High Court Chief Justices and a senior judge of Karnataka High Court, they were the committee and an inquiry committee. We need to pause that this inquiry committee is not like, say, a departmental inquiry or a preliminary investigation. It's more like a fact-finding to give a sort of a report to the Chief Justice of India for him to exercise that what is the next step. Now, he then does the due thing of sending it to the government. In this period, if the Supreme Court, assuming from what the flow of question is, decides to take some action, is that not, in a sense, departing from the established process where the government has to be informed and the judiciary is waiting, and the 2 of them will see the next steps that follow? Now, the registration of the FIR is the smallest part, according to me, because at some point that is going to become the logical thing that will happen. The removal from office.
Do you have the permission for it? After this report and the statement of the former Chief Justice, there is no word that is mentioned about registering an FIR. Can you register an FIR without the Chief Justice recommending it? According to me, from whatever little of law that I understand, there is a Supreme Court judgment which does not allow you to do that. In which case, what happens, Sanjay Hegde? And I want to tell you the shocking part. Witness number 20, who has deposed in front of the 3-judge committee, Umesh Malik, SHO of the police station of Tughlaq Road, said in his deposition on the 27th of March, he said that there is a stack of half-burnt currency lying on the floor was about 1.5 feet in height. The stack of half-burnt currency note on the ledge on the right side was also of 1.5 feet high. The witness also informed that the currency notes were on the floor from the door of the storehouse to the opposite wall at the other end. 1.5 feet high, that's the amount of cash. Some people say it's 400 crore, some say it's 84 crore, some say it's 500 crore. We don't know because it was cleaned up the next morning.
So yes, what could have been done? I agree with Sanjay Ghosh that if you took the judge at his word and said, yes, somebody is trying to frame you, let us launch a criminal inquiry into that. For that kind of FIR, you did not need the Chief Justice's permission. To file an FIR against where Justice Varma is an accused, you need Chief Justice's permission. There could have been innovative ways of handling the problem.
Oh.
But the longer that this drags out, the longer that this it comes out in the press and then you have your parliamentary inquiry and all that, it does the system no good whatsoever. It also emboldens those who probably want to bring the judiciary down a peg or two, dilute its independence. This may very well be the precursor to a relook at the NJAC and several other steps. This is what I see coming.
So let me ask you, if something like this was done by the legislature, would the judiciary not have happily taken that call? And if we can't say anything about the judiciary for fear of contempt, Anand Ranganathan, pray please tell me, can I also get a conspiracy against me, an FIR to that effect against the judiciary, should they assume that this is contempt of court? Bhai, mera bhi kara do.
Navika, please give me a minute to explain because both Sanjay's, one I suppose Bengali, have made excellent points. And I take the point of innovative routes to filing an FIR, be that as it may, yes, indeed. You file one FIR and like a dendrimer, it goes into, spreads its tentacles and then the investigation spreads. But I don't want to talk about whether an FIR was filed or not. It should have been. I don't want to talk about whether there is a conflict of interest. Of course there is. I want to talk about, as a common man, please bear with me 30 seconds, about common sense being going haywire and absent from what the judges have done. Let me explain. Let us say a judge says, I have a rare genetic disorder of single nucleotide polymorphism for which the government must pay 800 crores for my treatment. Now this is very common. The government pays for a government servant's treatment. But the judges have to investigate that. Whether the judge really has a single nucleotide polymorphism. Are the judges going to ask a scientist to find out the genome sequence, or are the judges going to do it themselves? That's the question. In this country, are the Supreme Court judges eligible or qualified to do forensic investigation? They are not. So why on earth was a forensic investigative team not tasked with the course of finding out what is the truth? That is the problem I have.
Because the devil is in the details and the details are lost over time, and that is the hope and the prayer probably the judiciary carries. I'm not attributing any motives, but I'm saying as time passes, there will be a lot of evidence that will be lost. Because the committee of judges on its own has not looked at many of the things which will be required probably to do the forensic analysis. They've answered only 3 questions. Was there cash? Yes, there was. Was there cash kept in the room without the knowledge of Justice Varma and his family? Certainly not. And number 3, the question of who removed the cash. Well, the committee feels it was removed by people within the House, the staff, the 16 people within the House who removed this and could not have removed this without the knowledge of the judge. Even the role of the daughter of the judge who was present at home has been spoken about by this report of the committee that I've taken notes of. Where does this leave us? Well, far, far, far away from the truth, far away from the justice this entire issue deserves. For the common man, the judiciary is my bap, my lord. For the judiciary, well, it's operation order. You follow the law of the land. For us, we'll see. That seems to be the approach. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me on the show and joining me on the